You guys, April is working on the Roman shade. Some of you have asked if we'll do a tutorial on it.
I'm not sure.
I don't think we will.
Because I found a tutorial on YouTube. It's still right.
And it's pretty intense, like the mathematics. I think we'll just link to the tutorial that we learned it from, so there's no reason to kind of redo it. They did a good job with it.
They did a really good job. The math is spot on. Like,
show them the one you made. Have you showed them yet?
here it is.
This is one of them that she's made. Look at that.
It doesn't have the hem done, so it doesn't look pretty down there yet. And there's no weighted bar in it, so I have to push it down a little bit. But, like, you can see the pins in this. But this will be in Zade's room.
But it's like,
and I need to cut this off still.
there's wood in it. There's
like you can buy the cord locks and like these you just buy from the hardware store. That's like the hardest part, I think, is collecting all the materials and the parts. But they make it really easy because they give you a product list at the end of the tutorial, and you can just like, I found most of the stuff online, and it was easier to find it online than it was to go around. But I have some tips for you that I actually have tips though. Like the metal rods.
Tips by April, go.
For Roman shades. So the metal rods that you buy at sellright.com are very expensive. I think they're like $4. It's like $3 or $5 depending on the length for each rod. And I'm doing like 24 windows, 23 windows. It would have been a ton of money. Oh wait, no, they were like $10. It was a lot. Or 13, it was crazy. And then I found at Home Depot, I'll go get it and show you. So these are the rods that I found. They are just, you don't see them, so it doesn't matter. They just need to be metal so that they're kind of heavier, that they weight down the bottom. And for this huge long one, it's like 6 feet long.
Actually, the big long screws.
It's zinc plated, threaded rod. And it's 1/4 of an inch. And I think for this huge one, it was like $3 or $3.25, and this little one was like $1.25. So that's way cheaper than like the 10 or 13 bucks for the metal rods you can get on Sellright's website. So that's my tip for that. And then this one might actually even fit in this one right now. That needs to be cut. You just need to cut them down to size a little bit. So this one, I'll just need to cut like that much of it off. That's what Davey does. So yeah, that's my main tip there.
Well, another tip is where we had to combine the wooden rods instead of holding it in your hand. Use a freaking vice grip. Like, did he say to use it in your hand?
Okay, so this is the other thing. So those were the two things that I found that like pushed it over the top to where it was not even worth making your own. It would have been better to just go buy some because it got so expensive. So the two things are these wooden dowels. The wooden dowels that go across each section. Let me show you. I'll just undo this one. Wait, does this one go this way? Yeah, that way. I need to remember how to do this. Okay. So these wooden dowels in here, they're glued in, and then you also sew in the edges when you're like installing these rings. But these are like 20 cents online at like Woodworks or whatever for a 3-foot long one. But I have windows that are like 6 feet long. And so I needed to have obviously longer dowels. But I couldn't find wooden dowels that were that long. You can buy plastic dowels and splicers on Sellright's website, but they're like $3 a rod, and the splicer's like another $2. So that's like $8 a rod, and you need like 6 of them for each shade. So that's, see, like I'm saying, it gets ridiculously expensive really fast. But I just bought all the 3-foot, 1/8 of an inch wooden dowels, and I spliced them. And then I just found out how to splice a wooden dowel.
Oh, that was a different website that taught
Yeah, like it was just how to splice a wooden dowel was what I typed on YouTube, and tons of them came up. And it was one, I'll have to just show you. It's like a little square that you drill a hole in. All right, ta-da! It's just a block of wood, and this is the wood that you use for the top mount. It's like a 2x2 piece. And so we just took the 3/16 drill bit, drilled the hole. You have to get a long one like this so it can go all the way through. And then we took a saw and just like marked out a line that was gonna like make a really long skinny slice that just started, like you can see that this side comes out one side and the other side comes out on the other. Saw all the way down, and you hold this in a vise so that it doesn't move around while you're sawing it. And then you just stick the dowel in there. You have to have someone hold one end, and then you saw it, and then when you take it out, you have these two really, really steep splices, and you do that to two, like one you push in this way and the other one you push in this way, and then you push them together with wood glue and wrap like a yarn or a thread around it and let it dry for a few hours, and then take it off and you can sand it down a little bit. And I was able to just put the two 3-foot ones together and make like an almost 6-foot one, and I only have 5-foot windows. Except for in the basement, there's like one 6-foot window, but I might not even do a Roman shade in that one. I might just do curtains because it's the theater room. So,
any more tips?
Those are my 2 big tips if you want to just save tons of money. And yes, that's a lot of work to do the dowels, but most of my windows were the 3-foot long windows, and I didn't need to splice the dowels. So I had like 250 that I didn't need a splice, and then I had like 60 that I needed a splice. But Davey and I did it all in like 2 or 3 hours. It was like 2 hours of all the splicing and gluing and everything. So I think it was worth it, 2 hours of my time to save. Or you could even just like, I guess for those 3 windows, I could have bought the more expensive ones, but I had time to do it and it wasn't that hard. So those are my tips. And in fabric, I got this fabric for $14.99 a yard at Home Fabrics, and I really love it. But I have some really good advice for fabric too, because there's a place called, here I'll show you a couple of them. Don't look at my room, it's messy. Okay, there's a place called In the Nick of Time Textiles, and they had all these pretty fabrics, but they were a little bit too thin. But there is one that I really liked, and I got a sample of it, but I don't know where it is. But it was like a white canvas, and I was going to use that one if I couldn't get the kind that I wanted, because they were out of stock. But I feel like this is really long, I'm sorry.
This is the kind that we got.
See, this has like a texture on it, and it's really thick, almost like a blanket. Like I just thought it looked so warm and cozy. So I thought it's worth it. The other stuff was only like $3.25 a yard. So I would have saved a ton of money if I would have used the other one. But I just really liked the look of this fabric, and I thought, I'm going through all this work, I might as well get the one that I really want. But like I said, if you want to make them dirt cheap, I would have been able to do 23 windows for like $1,000, and that's an entire house, all levels. But since I did the more expensive fabric, it was like $1,500. So
how much would it have been if we bought them by ourselves?
I priced this type of blind out on blinds.com, and it was $8,000 for all the windows, and I'm getting it for $1,500. So
boom, we just paid for our trip to Disneyland with our blinds.
If you have time, and I enjoy sewing, like this is fun for me, cutting out the fabric, putting it together, making something. That is what I like to do. I like to create stuff. So it was like a win-win for me. I got to have a project, I got to save $7,500, and or like $6,500. I'm doing the math wrong. And I think that they're going to be better because there's no way I would have been able to find this fabric. Like this is the fabric I fell in love with. So I got to make them, and it's the exact fabric that I want. So win-win-win. Thank you, Sellrite. Awesome tutorial.
We'll put some links in the description below.
Maybe we'll even find the little old man that did the dowel splicing so that you can see it done. Yeah. He struggled because he held it with his hand while he was sawing, and I was like, he's going to chop himself. But just use a vise. If you don't know what that is, it's like a big metal clamp.
So that's it. That's all you guys get today. Thank you for watching today. These were our tips on making your own Roman shades. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Oh, you guys, I thought of one more tip is different from the other tutorial. So they tell you to use tear mender glue, and I have white fabric, and I noticed that it dries orange, and you can see it through the fabric. So instead of the tear mender glue to glue on the wooden dowels, I used liquid stitch, and it's just at Walmart, and it's way cheaper too, and it works great, and it's completely white. So that's another tip I forgot to tell you guys. Good luck.